next, we've got Corey McKeown is going to be coming up. Corey is the owner and director of Trinity Homeschool Academy, TACH, a thriving home education program built on biblical principles, academic excellence, and community connections. As a veteran homeschool mom with over 15 years of experience, Corey brings a unique combination of heartfelt conviction and strategic leadership to the world of education. So, Corey, I can't wait to hear from you, and it's just thank you so much for agreeing to come on to this.
Excited to be here, and some of the questions that have just come up, I know I'm going to hit on in my presentation here. I am newer to presenting, so little grace is appreciated. But as Tim said, I am Corey McKeown, and excited to share about the just building confidence in community, how we get from a firm foundation at home into the community, and the questions that we face along the way, especially that age-old question about socialization. As I go through the presentation, please feel free to send questions if it's not answered through my presentation. We will definitely go through those in the end. So first, just a little bit about me. First and foremost, I'm a follower of Jesus. My faith is the foundation of everything I do. I'm blessed to be married to my husband, Michael, for 24 years. Together, we have two children, our daughter Lauren, who is 21, and our son Patrick, who is 19. We home educated both of them, Lauren from first grade through high school graduation. She's now graduated from college and working in Nashville with a human trafficking nonprofit organization. And our son Patrick was home educated the entire time. He's finishing his first year post-graduation, where he's focusing his time in real estate education and just really wanting to build a portfolio of properties that he would love to own and manage. I am the owner and director of Trinity Homeschool Academy. Also, our legal name is TEACH, Trinity Education of Christian Homeschoolers, where for the first time in 16 years, I've also taken on teaching a couple of leadership and entrepreneur classes. And when I'm not with my family or at Teach, I'm often on the soccer field coaching the littles, which is a passion of mine. But if I had to sum up who I am as a home educator and a business owner, I would just say that I am an avid supporter of home education and protecting the freedom parents have to educate their children in the way that's best for their family. That mission is really at the heart of everything that I do. So we will dive into that question. Homeschool, aren't you worried about socialization? That is inevitable. You mentioned you are homeschooling and you get the, oh, I could never do that. Aren't you worried about socialization? Originally, I'd get a little defensive. I'd feel the need to explain all the ways that my children were in social situations. And then one day I came to realize that what if I flipped the question around? And public school, aren't you worried about socialization? This is one of the favorite t-shirts we actually have at our co-op. But and honestly, when you look at the definition of socialization, a public school system sums that up. Children of all the same age, learning the exact same thing, being taught from a curriculum that has been rewritten according to the opinion to infiltrate the students with that ideology. So now when I get asked about socialization, I'm very transparent and I say that I am worried about socialization, and that's why we homeschooled our children. But in all honesty, when you get the questions from those who do not have the knowledge or understanding of home education, what they are really asking, and are they really interested in hearing your answers? Home education has grown not only in how many families are participating in this form of education, but just in how many opportunities there are for our children. We're lucky enough in our area in Florida to have a ton of options. I know other places it's newer, and other places, it's where you might need to start your own. So we're going to definitely get into that in this presentation. But we have moved on from the just homeschooling at the kitchen table. So the next few slides, we're just going to focus on some of those questions that we get and the answers that we can give. So aren't homeschoolers lonely? How will they make friends if they don't go to school? Won't they miss out on normal childhood experiences? Do they get enough interaction with kids their own age? And how do they form lasting friendships? So homeschooling opens up the door to just very deep and meaningful relationships with family, friends, mentors, peers. It's common for homeschoolers to be involved in co-ops, church groups, sports teams, community service, giving them plenty of opportunities and interaction for connection. Um, these friendships, they're built on shared interests, not just shared classrooms. As a result, they're often intentional, genuine, and typically long-lasting. Now, it comes to the normal childhood experience question. It's important to remember that most people define normal only by what's common in traditional schools. But homeschoolers do enjoy a wide range of experiences, traveling, pursuing hobbies, engaging in hands-on learning, and exploring their communities. So their education often blends seamlessly with those real life tailored to their interest and values. Like was stated on the last in the Q&A about the gardening. It's like you can learn through those real world experiences. So, and it's not just about time with peers their own age. Homeschoolers learn to interact with people of all ages. They have play dates, they join clubs, they compete on sports teams, attend weekly groups. They're not just confined to a single classroom in order to make connections. So, and all of this happens through intentional community. Homeschoolers spend their time with people they truly connect with, and often in smaller, close-knit settings that foster those stronger bonds. So the relationships are built by choice and not just by the age or zip code. So more of the questions, how do homeschooled kids learn to work with others? Again, collaboration comes naturally in homeschooling. So through group classes and those church events and sports and co-op projects, in these settings, the homeschoolers often work with people of all ages and not just with those in their own grade, which helps them develop those broader social skills and adaptability. The next two questions we get a lot are, how can they learn teamwork if they're mostly at home? And won't they be awkward in social situations later in life? Teamwork is woven into the everyday life, where it's working on group projects, serving in their community, participating in those sports, or even many homeschool families have their own business where the students are helping run that family business. So homeschoolers regularly practice the teamwork in real world situations. Um, the environment also builds confidence. Many homeschoolers are comfortable speaking with both peers and adults because they're not limited to age segregated settings. As a result, they are developing just strong communication skills and emotional intelligence early on. And are homeschoolers sheltered from the real world? And do they struggle with authority or structure later because they're not in a school system? Far from being sheltered, homeschoolers often have more opportunities for real world experiences. They're volunteering, they're working jobs, they're traveling, engaging with just diverse groups of people. Parents guide what's age appropriate using everyday life as an extension of the classroom. And when it comes to responsibility, homeschoolers are pretty well prepared. They learn to follow rules, they respect authority, they meet deadlines, manage their own workload. In fact, these skills often help them to thrive in both college and the workplace, as they've been practicing self-direction and accountability from a young age. And our last set of questions, can homeschoolers develop leadership or communication skills? What about prom and sports groups or public speaking? Will they know how to handle conflict and criticism with their peers? Don't homeschool parents do everything for them? And how can they be prepared for college or the workplace without traditional peer environment? So many homeschoolers take on leadership roles in their small groups, their co-ops, like I said, their family businesses. With flexibility in their schedules, they often have extra time to pursue passions and just build skills in like public speaking, mentoring younger children, or even organizing events. They also have access to a wide range of activities. While the format may look a little different from traditional schools, the opportunities are just as abundant, and often more personalized to their interests and comfort level. Conflict resolution is another valuable skill they develop. This happens naturally through sibling relationships, their group activities, and community involvement. And because they encounter less bullying, they tend to approach disagreements more with respect and thoughtful problem solving. So, homeschoolers also, or homeschooling also nurtures the independence. Students are encouraged to take responsibility for their own education, manage their own tasks, meeting their own deadlines, organizing their time, and solving problems. So in this model, parents can act as guides rather than the crutches. Um, and then as a result, homeschoolers are often exceptionally well prepared for both college and careers. They graduate with strong study habits, self-motivation, time management skills, the ability to communicate effectively. In fact, many colleges actively recruit homeschool students because of their independence and their drive. So getting through all of those questions brings us to the actual life of a home education family. And it is in the home where the foundation is laid. It is up to each family to decide and live out what their foundation is made of. And you're never going to find another home that has the exact same foundation. But all home educating families can thrive through education, through faith, through their strength of family values, and those roots that we intentionally plant. And once we've built that foundation, we can be confident in launching our children into the world. I always like the example of the arrow, like it says in Psalm 127:4, like arrows in the hand of a warrior, so are the children of one's youth. As a Christian family, we are like skilled archers. We're entrusted by God with our arrows. Each child is uniquely crafted for a purpose. And from the moment they're born, we begin home educating these arrows, and we're carefully shaping them through the love, discipleship, correction, and example. So the family home becomes the workshop where the truth is engraved, the characters refined, their point of purpose is sharpened. And then as the children grow, the parents can aim them with intention, not at comfort or worldly success, but at God's glory, eternal impact, and kingdom calling. When the time comes, the faithful parent does not have to cling to the arrow, but we can release it, trusting that by God's grace, our children are going to fly true. Launching them into the world is not about letting go in fear, but releasing in faith. So knowing that each arrow guided by our training, truth, and love poured into them, it's just sent out, not aimlessly, but with direction and purpose. So in our home, we always lived out we're aiming our children at heaven, not Harvard. We wanted them to know that their education mattered, but the thing that mattered most was their heart, their values, their integrity, and their understanding that their identity is found in Christ. So we wanted them to grow into adults who love God, love others, and live with purpose, because their academic success means pretty little if it's not grounded in a life that honors Him. So from the home into the community, once you know what your home foundation is made of, we can spring into the community and find groups that will help enhance our home education. So as homeschooling continues to grow, like I said, many communities have co-ops and play groups and social groups, athletics, theater, hybrid, micro schools are popping up all over. Pretty much anything you can think of. Many counties and states have laws that allow homeschool students to use their public after-school clubs and athletics. And if you're in a community that does not have a lot of options or options that you're looking for, if you build it, they will come. So we're going to get into now kind of how to start a home education co-op or a group in your area to build that community. In 2010, when I began homeschooling, I found a small homeschool co-op that was just starting. In that, I began helping with it and grew into being the director and owner. And now we're starting our 16th year. It began with about 40 to 50 students, with classes offering 1 day a week. And starting this year, we just had our first week, and we're starting with 725 students, and we have options 4 days a week. So we have some students who come for one class. We have some who come for only academic. We have some who come for only electives, and then some who have a mix of all of it, where they're multiple days a week. So we offer everything from your basic core classes to any and every elective you can think of. We started 16 years ago with only core classes and a couple of electives like art and some private music lessons, and now have cooking and engineering and survival and espionage and psychology and woodworking and homeopathy and homestead mechanics. You name it, we've got it. And we don't just hire anyone, we hire instructors who are professionals in that industry. Our cooking classes are taught by a private chef. Our survival and espionage are taught by a retired combat Marine. Our mechanics class is taught by a local business owner of a small engine repair shop. And our art classes are taught by a professional artist. Our homeopathy is taught by a doctor. So we've laid the foundation in our home and jumped in the community and just continued building off of that into a home education community contracted co-op that not only offers these classes, but opportunities for the parents to connect in small groups. We have mom workout sessions, dad's morning club, and just so much more. So you just have to have a vision and the heart to build it brick by brick and year by year. So if you are looking to start something or you don't have something in your community, looking what do you need? What is missing? Why do you want or need a group? What's your philosophy of education? Figuring out these answers to the questions will help you to narrow down where you can begin. And then you can start to take those steps to forming a group in your area. We're going to dive into those steps. First off, you're going to want to pray and be sure of the vision before you move on to the logistics. So, what is your purpose? Is it academic support, enrichment? Is it faith-based? What age groups will you start with? Do you want to start with all age groups or just narrow it in on a smaller group? Will it be parent-led? Will you hire teachers? Will it be a mix? So, just getting the vision before you move forward. Location may be one of the hardest things to find, but obviously also something you must have before you can continue down the path. So when you're looking for a place to host your homeschool co-op, there are several types of locations to consider. Churches are by far the most common, especially for the faith-based groups, but you might also find a great fit in community centers, libraries, or even shared space like YMCA or dance studios or vacant storefronts. When you're narrowing down your options, there are a few key things to keep in mind. First is the space available on the days and times you need it. Next, look at the cost. Make sure it fits your budget. Think about setup. Do they have classrooms or large meeting rooms? Do they have tables and chairs? Do they have a kitchen? You'll also want to consider parking, overall safety, and whether the facility is comfortable hosting a homeschool group. So once you've found a place that could work, you're going to want to make just a short pitch about your vision and how you'll care for the space. Ask about their usage policy, rental rates, liability requirements, and then visit the location in person. Check the layout, listen for noise levels, picture how the flow will work for your group. And finally, once you've made your decision, secure the location with the written agreement so everyone is on the same page. Next step is obviously building your core leadership team. That is pivotal. Depending on the setup of your organization, you'll have certain requirements. Every state has different requirements for how organizations are run. If you have a nonprofit, you're going to need a board of directors. If you choose to start an LLC or S Corp, you can take on the owner director role and build the team from there. So either way, having the support team is necessary for success. Some ideas are to have a treasurer to handle the funds, someone who is gifted in scheduling and administration, liaison between parents and the teachers, and any position you feel is necessary. It's just most important that everyone on the team have the same vision and values. So the next step is just discussing what kind of classes your co-op might offer. There's a wide range of academic subjects, your math, science, English, history, enrichment classes, like cooking, foreign language, the arts, STEM projects, and of course, there's physical education. How often do you want to meet? Some groups meet weekly, some meet bi-weekly, some only meet once a month. Think too about the length of your sessions. Will it be a half day, full day? Maybe it's going to be a flexible schedule, just depending on the classes. When you're forming a homeschool co-op, one of the most important steps is putting together clear policies and guidelines from the start. This isn't about being overly rigid. It's about making sure everyone knows what's expected of your group so that it can run smoothly. You're going to want to create a code of conduct for both students and parents. This should spell out how every student is expected to treat one another, how to handle disagreements, and the standards of behavior that align with your group's values. Along that line, you'll also need a discipline policy. This doesn't have to be complicated, but it should explain how you'll answer behavior issues in a fair and consistent way. We at our co-op have one basic rule that covers everything, and it's respect. So we keep it simple, but we can go off of that when we have any issues arise. Also, the safety and child protection procedures, they're crucial. It might include things like background checks if you're having teachers come in, sign out if you're going to do that, emergency plans for like weather, medical situations. And then we get to the financial side. You're going to want to be crystal clear about the financial policy. It covers tuition, supply fees, your refund policy. Decide on a budget outline, what those fees are going to cover, whether that's the facility rental, insurance, class supplies, if teachers, what they're being paid, if you're hiring instructors. Always research your local or your state guidelines. For instance, in my co-op, all instructors are independent contractors, so I have no employees. One major thing this means is that the independent contractor must set their own fee. I'm not legally allowed to tell them what they are going to make. So it actually takes the burden off of me. And each independent contractor each year sets the fee for what they're teaching, and that's what the families pay. So also decide how the fees will be collected and tracked. Are you going to accept checks? Will it all be online? What kind of system are you going to use? Who's going to be responsible for the bookkeeping and making sure the records stay accurate? By putting all these policies in writing, you'll protect your co-op, keeping things organized, and giving families the confidence that you have built a safe, fair, and well-managed environment for everyone. Just remember when you're planning for your budget to make sure you account for all key expenses, facility, rentals, supplies, teacher payments, hiring instructors, and then decide how you're going to collect and track those payments so that everyone can be organized and transparent. When you're starting a co-op, you'll also need to think about the legal and insurance side of things. First, liability insurance is often required by the facility you're renting from. It protects both your group and the location in case something unexpected happens. If your co-op is faith-based, you also might want to create a statement of faith. This helps clearly define your group's beliefs. It ensures that everyone participating understands and agrees with your mission. And finally, waivers for participants are a must. These outline risks, expectations, and responsibilities. They give families a chance to acknowledge that they understand and accept those terms before joining in. When it comes to scheduling and enrollment, start by building out your class schedule, decide which classes will run, when they'll meet, and who will teach them. Once that's set, open registration so families can sign up. As part of the enrollment process, be sure that you're collecting all the fees and signed agreements so that the expectations are clear from the start. And finally, assign volunteer roles, whether it's teaching, assisting in classes, handling setup and cleanup, or helping with administration. Just make sure every parent knows how they'll be contributing to the success of the co-op. And when it's time to recruit teachers and families for your co-op, start by reaching out to existing homeschool communities. Lots of Facebook groups out there, put flyers out in different locations, host an interest meeting. It just gives you a chance to share your vision, explain how your co-op's going to work, and answer questions for those families and anyone who might be interested in teaching. And again, like I said, spread the word on social media, Facebook, flyers in libraries and coffee shops, community centers. The more places your message appears, just the more you're going to be able to connect with the right families and teachers. And then you're ready to launch your co-op. Consider starting with a Meet the Teachers event or an open house before the first day. It gives the families a chance to connect with the instructors, ask questions, and get comfortable in the space. So, and remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Start small, build that strong foundation, and allow your co-op to grow gradually so that you learn what works best for your community. And for those who are actually starting it and in the leadership position, as you're planting the seed, you're nurturing it to grow, you need to be sure that you are watered as well. Don't give up your time with God. Don't give up your time with your family. Don't give up the priorities in your life to make sure everyone else is being watered. You need to take care of yourself as it's a large undertaking. So we'll just go into quickly the my co-op that I have run to give you some examples. It has flourished only because of that firm biblical foundation, going to God in all our decisions, every action, every detail. The foundation has been laid, and no matter what it is thrown our way, we continue to rely on God and make each decision through our belief and our moral compass. We are the Teach Eagles, and that eagle has gone through some ups and downs, but as we keep that cross on its chest as the full armor of God, we know what direction we're going in. It's good to let everyone know the heart of your co-op. We post this Canva here that shows what our heart is. It's on our website, it's in our handbook, it's in our onboarding documents. It is wherever we can post it. We want to sum up what we believe, who we are, and our definition of home education so that people know coming into our group what we believe and what we're doing. So it says, I know it's a little small on here, but um, it says that Teach will always welcome everyone because it's only through open arms and genuine love that we can shine the light of Jesus to those who may not yet know him. Christ calls us to be his hands and feet, reaching out with compassion and grace to all people. At the same time, we will always maintain that anyone on our campus must respect our belief statement. While we invite individuals from all walks of life, it's essential that our core values and commitment to biblical truth remain honored and upheld within our community. I've gotten the question before why we don't interview and only allow people that have the exact same beliefs. So we want to put that out there, that we want to welcome everyone through the doors of our co-op. Then we also want to put out like what we believe as a co-op is the definition of home education. We leave all authority to the parent. We provide Christ-centered education, and we understand each family and each child is their own unique individual. The parent has the full discipleship over their child's goals and their grades. And we believe that the education takes place in the context of the family. We do not believe that home education is just school at home. We don't believe it's isolated learning, and we don't believe it's avoiding responsibility. Excuse me, you can check out our website if you're interested in seeing how our co-op is run. On that Begin Your Teach journey, you can find our schedules and cost and registration process. You can find the onboarding documents, which takes families through all the ins and outs. Calendars, resources. So if you're looking for examples, they're there. I'll quickly go through so you can see, give you a glimpse of what can be grown. These are our current schedules. Red means the classes are full. So when families go on and see what we have, they understand that what is open for them to register. On Monday and Wednesdays, our schedules look like this. We have from pre-K all the way through high school. And this is what we call our a la carte menu of classes. These days we offer everything, core classes to all sorts of electives. Families can pick and choose what their student is taking, and they build out what they want each of their students to have. About 8 years ago, we implemented a core only day. This is more mimics a traditional classroom environment where the students get their 4 core subjects, math, science, English, and history from one instructor. Many who are jumping out of a traditional school like to take this kind of soft dive into home education. They know they're getting those 4 core subjects. And then we also allow for a mix of all of this. You don't have to just do a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Monday or Wednesday. You can basically build what works for your family. And again, no family is going to have the exact same schedule. Also, having a place where families can review all of your policies and procedures is helpful. We have this onboarding document that is on our website and any of our parent and student portals. It's one place where they can go and click through. As you can see, it has that Heart of Teach. It's got our handbook, information on all of our instructors, parent responsibility, rules. what we call My Teach is our internal portal just for our students, how to stay in the know, our calendar, how to communicate. So just one place where they can get all of their information. We have learned that making it simple is best. Having information in one place, one click of a button gets more eyes on it than having them have to search all over. Feel free to follow us on Instagram or Facebook. As I tell others who come to me about the process of starting homeschool groups and building that community, we did not start here. We are here now, but this is 16 years of growth. So when we get those questions, I just want everyone to know who needs to start something that don't try to start something that has been going on for so long. It needs to be built, but the sky is the limit. It's up to you, and it's basically, are you going to accept that mission? So we can now, I know we've got a few more minutes left in this session, so we can take some questions. I can go through and see if anything's come through on the Zoom.
Okay, Corey, that sounds fantastic. Why don't you stop your screen presentation? Let's open up to some questions and see what we've got. I'm gonna remove the spotlight so everybody can see everybody again. Hey, we're all here. I have a question for you, and if anybody has some additional questions, feel free to go down and just click on the raise hand button and down the bottom of your screen. It might be in a different location if you're coming in from a mobile device. Click that up and get you in the queue. No bad questions here. I first, a comment. I've been a pastor in ministry for a long time, and I applaud your faith and your boldness in stepping out, and I love what you're doing. Yeah, we also know that there's also secular home groups as well. So if some people are looking at doing a co-op, they can take the same principles that you're working with and apply it to their secular home group, and so on, right? So I was up in, I ran a ministry up in Crestline, California, up in the mountains up there. And just that locale, for whatever reason, probably about a third of our community were homeschoolers. So it wasn't difficult to find different community activities, games and sports, and, it was all there. Do you have any tips on I heard you mention you can go out and kind of start something. What's the best way to start, and how do you kind of ramp up kids into something while you're waiting for it to evolve? If you might be in a community where it's not like where I was.
Yeah, I've actually had others from other areas of the country contact me about starting something and starting it from scratch. And truly, that how I just kind of went through the process was the location and the instructors or who is going to teach are probably the most important thing. So if you know in your group or your area, you don't have a theater program, and you're looking to start that, finding a location that is capable of hosting a theater group, finding a group of people or theater instructors who understand that. Those are the two things that are, I feel, most important, getting that lined up and then moving forward from there with what days and advertising and figuring out the cost and just getting it out there. In our area, new groups are being started all the time. And truly, I believe the social media world is where you get, once you have that foundation of what your group is going to offer, where it's going to be, who's going to be teaching it. Home education families really want to know who they're entrusting this group, what this subject is going to be taught, by who it is. So introducing the teacher is really important. And then again, I just say you have to be willing to start small. If you have 4 kids sign up for something, start it, because it's going to grow, but it's going to take starting small.
Love it. Love it. And by the way, in our session today, if you'd like to be able to reach out and connect with Corey, here's what you do. Just go ahead and put in the chat, type Corey and your name and email address. You can save this chat. We encourage you to save it throughout the day, and we'll make sure that she gets all that contact information and is able to reach out and connect with you. So you can do that. One more thing, Corey, as you were talking a little bit, it's, I understand with teacher, a localized, brick and mortar facilities and places that you're working, as in areas where, that may just not be feasible, maybe rural areas or, out in the country and places. Have you done much work with, online, for example, with the great discovery? That's really what our platform is all about, is with channels, you can literally go and set up your theater groups, your cooking classes, your other types of things, as well as support resources. And people can go and monetize it and subscribe to those groups. And then it kind of gives you a true, potentially global access. You can have homeschoolers from everywhere. Have you done anything like that?
Our specific group here is in person. However, we have, one of our original teachers was Dennis, who is an online presence, and we have some of our instructors now who are taking that on, where we have the in-person, but they're videoing their lessons and they're getting their lesson plans out, and they're putting out just an online platform for people to be able to take that class. Our Bible instructor is taught by a pastor, and people absolutely love him. So I encouraged him this year. He's recording every class, and hopefully at the end of the year he'll have a curriculum that he can post for people to purchase and benefit from. So we are starting that process with a lot of our instructors. They're seeing that they're able to get out nationwide and international with what they're teaching.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Does anybody have any other questions for Corey? Go ahead and put your hand up. And if you don't know where your hand button is, just wave on your screen. We'll spot you. And there we go. There's Dennis. Do you have a question, Dennis?
Well, more of a comment. So, when Corey says, we met at the beginning, and we did. So oftentimes, if you're considering doing a co-op, like Corey was saying, they really do start small. Corey's an exception around the US that her program has 700 kids attending. That's wow. Big. There are some that get that big, some even a little bit bigger, but typically they're much, much smaller. And it does take a lot of work. But for me, I was there at the very beginning, and so watch them grow, help them along the way. They helped me as well. But one of the things to share about is, like, when you hear Corey and you hear all of the things that she did and all of the things that she's created, and she's invested 16 years of her life into creating the Teach Co-op. At the same time, I know both of her kids, and I've known her kids since they were probably 8 and 10 years old. And seeing them and watching them grow up and seeing where they are today, and going to their, high school plays, and seeing the different things they were doing, and if they were doing tech stuff and robots and whatever they were into, it was one of the things that I loved about when I was going in person to Tampa to the co-op, was that I got to see what the kids were doing, and they were always sharing, and it was always like a family experience. And that's one of the things that you get out of being in a co-op setting, is it's always a family experience, whether it's 10 kids or 700 kids. So it's just really so that sometimes when people create something that has a big success like that, they don't always see. It's kind of like the fish in the water, right? The fish doesn't see the water. Corey's not really giving you that huge success that she is. And so I want to make sure that you all know that. But, what she's done, and she has maintained her family first. And even the dog. So even her dog buddy, rest his soul, but it's really just something really, really, really awesome. So thanks for being here today, Corey. It's so good to have you.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, you didn't say math when you were talking about your program, so I just wanted you to know.
I'm sorry.
Left that now, but
that's just insinuated.
Insinuated.
There we go.
Everybody loves math. There we go. Okay, thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. James Moneypenny, I see your hand up there, my friend.
Yeah, well, I already love you, Corey, before Dennis said that you even included the dog, but now I respect you even more because we're a big animal family. My daughter and I have a little informal rescue farm out here in Anna,
Oh,
Texas.
cool.
So that's respect. And so I started homeschooling my son 28 years ago. That'll give you a little idea of how old I am. And now he's highly successful. My daughter, I've been homeschooling her in a university kind of shared, hybrid model. And all I can say is what you have put together here, Corey, and what Kendra is doing is making homeschooling so much easier than when I got started with it. I wished you ladies
Yes.
had have started this 28 years ago. I would have saved a lot of pain and misery and struggling and learning by making mistakes. But with all the mistakes that I made, my kids still have turned out really well. So I love homeschooling and I love what you ladies are doing. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, James, and thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate it. And again, once again, if you want to get in touch with Corey or want her to get in touch with you, make sure you put Corey and then your name and email, Corey, for your name and email in the chat so we can go sort and vet through those and make sure that she can get out to you. And Corey, feel free to drop any links or information or contact things that you have in there one more time with your name up on top of it so people can find you as well. That'll be great.